stop by Amber's office and just check in on her. Oh, wow. She looks really busy. Oh, it is so nice to see her in the office. She's such a hard worker.
Oh my God. Look at this. Okay. Oh, let me check my calendar real quick. Just one meeting and I already finished that spreadsheet. Okay, I guess I'll go grab a coffee and do some collaboration.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Sanity Penning Podcast. I'm Holly, and this is Amber. And Amber, today we are talking about some workplace trends that I swear, I thought these were just like made up. I thought that this was like fake. Honestly, specifically, we're talking about ghostworking today, coffee badging, and hushed hybrid. So in general, these are employees maybe who badge into the office, grab a cup of coffee, go talk to Lucy, and then bye, they're gone. Or like maybe somebody who just, we'd said like the mouse jiggler, like somebody who just moves their mouse so their chat light stays green, or sometimes employees who ignore the RTO rules. With this whole push for RTO. So they actually are different things, but sometimes these terms, I think, get lumped together, sometimes even used interchangeably, which I think like the themes are pretty much the same across the board there. But for me, I think what it boils down to, and Amber, I'm going to be curious what you think about this. There was this time when managers would walk by your desk and they could see you typing or talking on the phone or whatever it was at the time, right? And they just assume that you're working hard, right? And I think the past few years now, companies have been trying so hard to force these old expectations onto employees who are living in a completely different reality. And there's all this friction. So I do want to dive into these more, like specifically, but I'm curious, what are your thoughts on this, Amber? Just kind of like this topic in general and this idea of these buzzwords that are floating around, these new trends.
Yeah. I mean, and as you had shared, that these all represent somewhat similar things, but have specific nuances that maybe are reflective of whether it is a work from home environment or in an office environment. Because I can see some of these being, like you said, the mouse jiggler, right? And so, but all of them to me share a thread of an individual that you can recognize or are aware are avoiding work. Like they are doing work to actively avoid work. So instead of actually just doing the work, yes. I mean, so these are my thoughts around it. I see them as work avoidance techniques.
Amber, this might be the first ever episode where we don't share a similar opinion on it. That is fascinating to me. Actually, I kind of like it too. Now we've got some site. I know we've been looking this up together and we've been talking about this outside the episode. So do you want to kind of like give us I don't want to say official definition, because again, it depends where you're looking, but this was like what we saw when we were preparing for the episode.
Absolutely. Okay. So we started out with coffee badging. And so coffee badging was just what you described. It's this idea of somebody who you're going to typically see with a cup of coffee in their hand. They're going to be more of the social variety, walking around with that cup of coffee, making sure that they are seen and visible. And then they bounce. Then you may not see them for the rest of the day, right? But they've made themselves known.
It's so hard to believe that this is even a thing. This is what I mean, but I thought this was fake when we were talking. I'm like, Amber, there's no way that happens. And you're like, I can't believe this happens. Okay, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Proceed.
And to me, like what I think of with somebody walking around with coffee is the Office Space character, like the boss. And he's like, I'm just going to need those reports, right?
And with those TPS reports,
Where are you at with those TPS reports?
Did you get the memo? It wasn't in the proper format.
So maybe coffee badging is referencing a boss, because we didn't actually explore them from the perspective of who's doing it. Like, are your peers or are they could it be anyone? And so when I think of coffee badging, I do think of bosses, but it's because of Office Space. And it is because of that particular boss walking around with his mug of coffee.
Think of Office Space. Yes. No, you've done it now, Amber.
So then now ghostworking. And so ghostworking refers to actually a couple different things and can in the world of work as we are exploring these. And so one is going to be referring to the workers behind the technology like AI. So they're people that you don't see, but they are actively working. They're just ghost work. You're not going to see like kind of like Oz, right? You're not going to see the magician behind the curtain type of thing.
Good one.
You see the output of what is occurring, and you can just assume that there may be somebody behind it, but you don't see them and you don't know how like the sausage is made essentially, right? And so
you don't think about them. Right.
And you don't think about them. They are essentially invisible, hence the ghost working term. Right. And so because you don't see them, you don't even think that that's a job, right. Or something that exists. And so that is one way to think of ghost working. And then the other way to thinking of it is where I am coming from with the avoidance. It's faking productivity. And so it's where we do the mouse jiggling. I've even heard a clip on like a money clip on a space bar, anything that is set to make it look like you're productive. And like, for instance, our skit example would be evidence of ghost working and just kind of faking what that productivity, where you're actually disengaged and you're just trying to kind of like make it through the day, or you're doing the bare minimum. Okay. And so it's not kind of like creating tension, like you're getting something done, but you're just not keeping yourself busy. You're just like, I've done the thing and that's all that I'm going to do.
Because I kind of like tie this a little bit to that quiet quitting, like some of the stuff that we talked about there, where like, you're going through the motions or whatever, doing enough to get by or whatever. So you're not drawing attention to yourself, right? Like, but you're technically doing something, but you know what I mean? Yeah. Kind of similar.
Yes. It's also this option of ghost working is also, like, I really love this term called productivity. So instead of productivity, it is your fake productivity theater. It's like putting more effort on making it look like you're productive. So anyway, so that is one element. And then hushed hybrid again. So like we're talking about each of these terms kind of having a different nuance. And so a hushed hybrid is bypassing a lot of the company policies around RTO or return to office or working remotely, that makes it to where you're able to do it more often than what is technically allowed. And so it's it's in this kind of space now where we are aware that there's a lot more aggressive policies around working at home, working from home, or coming back into the office. And so this one is getting more of a resurgence. It has a connection, but it's getting more of a resurgence as a term to do this kind of like hushed hybrid, where it's like, I have a balance of whether I'm working from home or my company doesn't allow me to do that. Like I'm actually supposed to be in the office, this number of days, but I'm kind of pushing the limits on what I can do. So
some of the examples I saw on hushed hybrid too, like very similar to coffee badging, where like people thought you were there, but then like, oh, I'm gone. Like, or like I'm coming in to turn in some paperwork, but then they're like gone, but people saw them. So they don't know that they're working from home, or like strategically managing your calendar. Like I heard of this with salespeople who are like, going out and doing sales calls and stuff like that. They'll be like, hey, I'm on a sales call, but like they're at home working versus like doing their rounds or whatever it might be. So it's like stuff like that, right? To get around those RTO policies that we were talking about. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so, I mean, it could be like, hey, I've got to go run and do this errand, right? And then you just do the errand in the slowest way possible. You take the scenic route, right? You're still doing the work, right? Yeah. And you still are delivering or picking up or whatever it is that you're accomplishing the task. Yeah. So you can't be accused of not doing the work. It's just that you did it in the most long and roundabout way of getting it done.
Okay, so Amber, this was great. I'm glad we've kind of like laid a foundation here so we can talk about it, because it does seem like you and I have different opinions on like some of the things. So like here, I'm curious kind of where we are the same and where we divert and go in different directions here. So like I do see some common themes. We talked about this, like definitely trust and flexibility, because like we've talked about in past episodes, I think quiet quitting was actually the one that we kind of talked about, this whole like, world of suspicion that we're all living in now, right? Like employees are suspicious of company motives. Companies are suspicious that employees aren't actually doing any work. And, it's, for me personally, I just want to know, like, what are the expected outcomes? Like, what are the expectations for me and my role? And if those outcomes are met, what is the big deal with letting people work where they want to work or work how they want to work? Because like you and I, Amber, we found ways to be more efficient and get work done faster. Does that mean then we get punished with even more work because, hey, they could do it faster? Like they're smart enough to come up with stuff that can either automate or just streamline work. Like, you know what I mean? I think of stuff like that. So if I want to work like that, where I'm automating things and maybe I have a little bit more time, I have more flexibility to try other things, experiment with other paths. Like what's wrong with that? I guess like that's kind of where I stand, like in a nutshell.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So then my stance is going to be from the perspective of the same underlying issues, right? Like I feel like I'm being suspected of doing something that I'm not, or right. And so, or I am being more closely watched than I was before. And so it's giving me like a sense of surveillance, right? Like there's like I'm being held to a new way of working that I am not accustomed to, right? So there's this like new change and I don't understand it. I'm not getting context around it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to rebel. And I don't have a way to talk back to it. So I'm going to rebel, and I'm going to rebel by doing as little as I possibly can. And so instead of doing more for the company, I'm going to do just what needs to be done as a show of this rebellion. And it could be somebody's pissed me off at work and I'm tired of everybody being on my case. I'm going to talk about it from the perspective of what I have seen. And I have seen people act like children where they're like, somebody's pissed me off. Oh, so you've said something that I don't appreciate. Fine. Then I'm going to do half-ass work. I'm going to make it to where I'm not reliable in this sense. You're going to stop relying on me to do these things. And so like, I don't want to be included in this. I'm just here for the check. And so like, I am not required to do more. I'm not required to do these particular, things. And so they're just going to skate just that line that stops them from getting into trouble, so to speak. Like I put trouble.
Yeah.
And so I see these terms as some form of rebellion or just laziness. Like
really?
I don't want to work. I don't want to do these things. So I'm just going to do right. Like, and
wow.
Yeah.
So
that's
interesting. So, because we've talked about this before too, where employees sort of treat, like their work as just an exchange of labor for pay, right? Like I'm here just for the paycheck, like you said. I mean, is that a bad thing? Do you think that is like considered disengagement? Is that, because I've noticed a bigger trend switching to that train of thought than before, right? Where like before there was all this loyalty or whatever. And, every year people look forward to the Christmas bonuses that they would get. And like, it felt like people were appreciated. Like, do you think this shift is like bad?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
So if you were doing it before, if you were trying to do really good work, quality work, and spend your time trying to get as much done as possible, right? You're a checklist person. You're trying to accomplish all of these things, right? And you have all of these outputs and deliverables, and right? And you want to stay on top of that, and you are motivated to stay on top of that. And then all of a sudden something shifts and you change that behavior. That's a disengagement. And there is something wrong with that. Not from the employee's perspective. There's something wrong with the culture. There's something wrong. Something has changed for that employee that opens them up to other bad behavior. Because, right? And so I do see that as something that's not great that's happening when it's in those contexts. Now, I have had the absolute pleasure of working with individuals who have zero motivation, and this is normal for them to be like this.
Yeah.
And right.
I consider those people as outliers, though. I don't consider them to be in the majority. Do you consider them to be in the majority?
I consider them to be in the majority of people around me.
Really? Okay. See, that's really unfortunate then. Yeah. No. Okay. That is like, okay. So I better understand now for sure, because like I definitely have worked with like some lazy freaking people, but that like, in the number of people I've worked with as a whole, they're like barely a fraction in there.
Right.
And so that's why I guess like that's kind of where maybe like my experiences have come in and I'm saying that like these terms and things like this is what, and I'm actually, okay, sorry, I'm switching train of thoughts now. I know I started down a path. I've decided to change. I'm going to talk about this thing now because I got all these things like swirling in my brain. Okay. So changing paths for a second. Do you think kind of like some of the change and the shift that we're seeing, do you think it's the result of like return to office, like post-pandemic, like things have shifted since then?
Yes.
Okay.
I think yes, 100%.
We're in agreement 100% on that. Okay. Yes. So then I am really curious. So for me, right? Like we all had to come back to we proved that things could work. Like when we were all working from people who like not every profession had to work from home during the pandemic. We get that. So I'm just talking about like the ones that were like where this like specifically affected them. So, I think when we all were told, okay, time to return to pre-pandemic work conditions, people were like, nah, we spent several years proving that this could work. But then they wanted to bring us back, but nothing else changed, right? They're like, hey, we're just going to try to change the setting, but we're not going to change anything else. We're not going to change any of the other working conditions. And on top of that, expectations were really blurry and like muddy. At least, so I'm speaking from my own personal experiences, okay? And I think like, because of all of those things, like none of these other things changed. They just wanted to change our environment where we were working. They didn't clarify any expectations that, hey, we're bringing you back. And by the way, this is to help, so we can further these other goals. Like none of that stuff was shared with us. So I think employees, like we started engaging in like kind of what you were talking about, like this productivity theater, which I really like that term, but like, where we are putting on a performance 40 hours a day, or 40 hours a week rather, or whatever the schedule is. Okay. Sorry, whatever people are working, but like we're doing this because like we found ways to be more efficient and to do things in a better way when we were working from home. Like it was a survival thing. We had to do it. So we came up with but I'm sorry, like it doesn't take me maybe 8 hours a day or whatever to do those things. Also that meeting where you're like, hey, I want you face to face. And by the way, okay, I'm going to take all these notes. I can't take any action in the meeting because whereas like before, like, hey, this thing broke. Can you take this down as an action to fix later? No, let me just fix it now. But guess what? I can't do it because I'm in this face to face meeting with you. And I don't have my laptop with me or whatever it might be. Like those things were stupid to me. So I guess like, for me, I put a lot of blame on companies for sort of this like maybe downward trend. I don't even want to call it a downward trend, but I put a lot of blame on them for not trying to clarify goals and share expectations and think that the only solution for like whatever is like for all of this is just more visibility of employees. And like, what the heck is that going to solve? Maybe this was a big rant to just say like RTO freaking sucks. But I'm like, it's baloney to me.
I think it got exacerbated. I think a lot of these behaviors were already happening, but it's made more people like kind of jumping on, meaning that to me, I associate it. And again, it is because of my experience. I don't have really great experiences like in the workforce with others. And it is true. I can appreciate, so please understand, I can appreciate that I consider myself the problem here, not the other individuals around me, because of the level of like standard that I place on myself, which then happens to trickle down into how I view others, right? Like, so meaning that if I'm at work and I'm meant to be working, that's what I do. I work. I spend my time working and if I have finished the thing, then I actually try and go and I find work and I ask other people, hey, do you need help with something? Right? Like I am that type of worker and that type of employee. And I like to think creatively through problems, right? And I enjoy, doing the work that I have before me. I enjoy working and I don't think that everybody does. So placing how I feel about it as a comparison to others, I understand that that's my problem issue, right? To resolve. And it isn't necessarily reflective of the whole package or the whole system of how people are responding to this. I just see an uptick, an increase in this, like, well, I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to, and it's done in a way that they think is sending a message. And all it's sending a message from my perspective is frustration, because you're not actually sending a message to the people that you think you're sending a message to, which would be the people who are making the decisions. You're sending a message to your peers, and your peers around you are having to pick up whatever that you are not doing as far as your job goes. And then that's when I would get angry and mad and then start down my spiral of like, all of you suck.
Yeah, no,
right.
And that is fair. Like if you are doing something that is a fireable offense, like not doing your job that you're getting paid for, then you should be fired. Okay. I'll just be honest. Like, yeah, that's a fireable offense. However, like if people are like, hey, this was like what I was told to do. I'm doing this thing. I'm like, great, you did the thing. Like, then you're done. Like, I'm sorry. Like what? And I'm not to say like being a go-getter, like, no, I think like we should have those. We need to have stuff like that. But I also think that then there needs to be maybe more clarification on big picture stuff, because a lot of people that you're talking about too are like task people, like you said, who, oh, I get this thing. I know I read, I make sure it's all filled out. I press a blue button, done. They don't understand how does that fit into the bigger picture of like us achieving whatever these outcomes are that we're trying to do, whatever the goals are. I think there needs to be better, like, education is the wrong word, but better transparency about like, where does your role fit in here? Why is it important that you do what you do? Like there's nothing talked about in terms of outcomes. It's always talked about in terms of either presence, visibility, or like task type stuff. So again, I'm like, that's not an employee's job to figure out what the big picture goals are and stuff like that. It's the company and a manager's role to explain what those expectations and things are. It can't just be on like, I don't know, like vibes or whatever, like, you know what I mean? It's, I don't know. I put a lot more responsibility on them than I do on employees.
No, and I do have, I mean, I'm making it sound like I didn't work with anybody that was great. And it was
we work with some like amazing people. Yes.
Amazing people.
Amazing.
But I am less likely to remember the amazing than I am the people that made the job harder. And I think that that's where I hold more weight on the people that like my peers than I do on leadership. And so we definitely differ on that.
Definitely differ on that.
Because I don't feel like I need to wait on somebody else to make the change. I can communicate, right, that these are the things that we need. And if it is your job, not your job to do that, right, I'm just kind of letting you know. But I do think that there is a personal responsibility at the level that you are at to do what you can to make that better. And then it is well, I'm just going to wait until it gets better around me. I don't really... Right. And so that's why I
change makers versus, like the others. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So I put a lot more responsibility to that, right, on the people around me, because we are mightier in number than the leadership are. And they
strength in numbers for sure, which is why I think like if we want to see real change, like, a better balance with these RTO policies and stuff like that, you're right. I think that there needs to be more communication, but I think that's maybe employees feel more empowered to push back on stuff these days because it's the relationship has changed. This is an exchange for labor. I think people recognize how valuable their labor is versus like in the past where like, well, you didn't have a choice. Like, there weren't options, I guess, like, or we were just told like, this is normal for people to kind of go through this or whatever. And I like the change. I do think it causes a lot of friction. There's a lot more drama than I remember there being, but I like it. I think it has, there's good conversations coming out of it for sure. Yeah.
But I think it goes back to, it has to do with your motivation. So if you are doing your job and you're getting paid for what you produce and or the outcomes or however it works for you, right? And you're doing your job, you clock out, you finish your day, and then you go home and everything is hunky dory. You like what you do. You're not disgruntled, right? And you're not upset about what's going on. There is nothing wrong with that.
Oh,
absolutely nothing.
God. Good for you.
That sounds brilliant and
amazing.
right?
I would love that
amazing.
For everybody. Yes.
It is, I think for me, where it is when you had asked earlier about like, do I think that it is a bad thing? It's a bad thing if you are angry and you're disgruntled and you are doing I'm just clocking in and doing as little as like it is a choice that you are telling yourself to either another around you or just to, raised fist to the man, like I'm not doing anything, then that, if you think that your inactivity means that numbers go down and that somehow it's going to elicit a change with you not having to communicate, right?
Yeah.
That is where I see that it is.
Yeah.
Like, it moves that needle towards the
For
not
sure.
productive,
Yeah.
and towards the, like, there's something more going on with you, which then leads into some of our past episodes about, like, the type of quitting that you're
Oh,
doing,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
if it is, if you are trying to send a message, like, it seems that a lot of these are messages that are being sent and they're not being heard.
Yeah.
So they're, I
For
mean,
sure.
they're
For
seen
sure.
and
Yeah.
understood by all, like, all of us can name it and say, oh
Yeah.
yeah, this is what's going on, but nothing is changing.
Yeah.
So
it is annoying when everybody knows, like, because we've talked about that before, where it's like everybody knows there's a problem and we all just keep ignoring it, and it festers and festers. I will say too, like, for those, like, you know, disgruntled people too, one thing the HR side has, like, it's not just two sides to every, there's all this stuff that maybe is going on, but you're right. The people who are most impacted are their colleagues, like the people they're working more closely with. So yeah, it's, oh man, it's super, yeah, it gets real messy. And it's funny too, because, like, we've been talking, like, a lot of these buzzwords came from HR agencies who are like, hey, we're going to just put a name to some of these behaviors that we're seeing and some of these things. Because yeah, it's, I think you're right. Like, people who are in the trenches doing the work alongside these people who are making it more challenging for them, they're like, what the heck is wrong with you? And it's causing it's a ripple effect. And then HR's like, yep, that's this. Like, they have to put a name to it and give it to the manager. This is why this is going on in your team, that, like, or whatever, you know what I mean? Not that solves anything. I guess it gives a name to the issue, but yeah, the real problem is, like, what we were talking, the themes that we talked about earlier with, like, the distrust and, you know, employees wanting more flexibility, more autonomy. Yeah. Well, Amber, I have a game to play. Okay. Hold on. Let me because I want to read the rules. I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget.
Good for you. Good for you. Because
I feel like the past couple, we have not done well on those. Me too. I was in that too. Okay. So
I completely forgot the whole name of the game. The nameless
let's
game.
Play game, and let's start with the name of the game. Okay, so I'm calling this vibes-based management. Okay, so this game is all about how you feel about something, Amber. So this, like, goes along with these, like, kind of what we're talking about. It's how you feel, maybe aesthetics too, right? Like, because that's very vibes-based, but it's not measurable outcomes. Okay, we're not talking measurable outcomes. Okay. So here's the rules. Okay, so how we actually play. I'm going to give you a workplace scenario, and you're going to choose whether you think, like, you're going to choose what you think is going on behind the scenes. Okay. And the catch again, like, all answers are possible. So, like, you're really going to have to go off your gut here. Okay. But because all answers are technically possible, like, you might be like, well, so how, like, what's the correct answer? How do we know, like, if I won that round or not? Well, I'm so glad you asked, Amber, because what better way to pick a correct answer than asking AI to pick it for us? So I've done that. AI has already determined the correct answer all of these scenarios. I'm going to be curious to see, like, how you line up with that, but I'm also going to give you, like, why AI, because I asked it, like, why did you choose this? So I'm going to share those, like, kind of hilarious like explanations for these. It's very, very funny. And results are final. Okay. So there's no human bias in this. Round one, Amber. Okay. This is coffee badging. So an employee badges in at 8:30 a.m. They get coffee, talk to 3 coworkers, attend 1 meeting, and then disappear. What time did they actually leave the office, Amber?
Gosh, this feels like one of those math problems, right?
Yeah, like, what the heck? Yeah, so what do you think? Like, when did they leave?
Oh my God.
A few options here. We've got 10 a.m., 11:30 a.m., immediately after lunch, or maybe during a strategically timed quick bathroom break.
Okay, so they clocked in at 8:30.
Yeah, 8:30.
So they got coffee.
Did their rounds.
They did their rounds. They attended a meeting. And then they disappear. So I'm going to say 11:30 for this one.
11:30. Okay. Do you want to, like, do you have any basic, like, any
explanation for my answer? I was just trying to
I'd like you to show your work here.
I was just trying to think of the mathematical, like, of the time of how long somebody might spend doing these things. And so
Amber, you are so logical. It's one of my favorite things about you. I love that. Like, okay, how long could it actually take to do these things? I love that. Yes.
Correct. Okay. And so to me, like, I set that it was a 1 hour meeting, right? And so they're meeting.
Yeah, that's a good assumption, actually.
or their meeting was from 10 to 11, right? And so that gave them an hour and a half, or, a little over 2 hours to do their talking to 3 coworkers, right? Because I don't know what they're talking about, right? So I built in time. So anyway, so I'm going to say 11:30 a.m. because that's going to be an assumption that they left for lunch and then they just don't come back, right?
I like that. Left for lunch and never returned. Okay.
Never returned. So 11:30 is where I'm going with my answer.
All right. Well, let's see what Gemini says. Gemini says the correct answer is during a strategically timed quick bathroom break.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So here, let's look at the fatal flaws of the first 3 options. So,
fatal flaws. Somebody died here.
Oh man, a bathroom death. It's possible. Anyway, okay. Leaving at a clean time like 10 o'clock or 11:30, that creates a paper trail, okay? It implies intention, which is dangerous. Also, leaving immediately after lunch, Amber, this is where you were going. Leaving immediately after lunch is also an amateur mistake. Post-lunch exodus is highly visible. The elevators are packed, and this is actually what I thought of too. People are looking for you to walk back to the desk with them, right? Back to desks. But no. This employee here is an office escape room champion. They utilize the ghost protocol bathroom break. Very,
protocol?
Love this. This seems totally legit to me.
Oh my God. I feel like I wish I still had like an ID badge for work, because I would want like a little sticker that had ghost protocol.
Oh my God. Okay. So now you kind of got a sense of like where we're headed with this.
Okay. All right. I got to set aside the logic then. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'll be curious what other tactics you use then. Right. Round 2. So this is a camera off excuse. Now, this is specifically for like a remote work situation, but camera off could be even in an office, because I attended many, while I was in the office, virtual meetings where I still had to have my camera on. So it could be anything, but this specifically is about somebody who's working remotely. So an employee says, "Oh, so sorry, my internet is unstable today, so I'm going to stay camera off for this call." Amber, what do you think is actually going on? Is their internet actually unstable? Like, are they telling the truth? Are they folding laundry? Did they forget they had a meeting, or are they eating lunch?
They're folding laundry.
Folding laundry? Is that your final answer?
That's the final answer.
Okay. Remember, you can phone a friend if you... No, you cannot. We're not phoning friends. You used all 3 of your lifelines already.
Right? I'm just going off vibes. Like they're folding laundry. Yeah.
This is a great approach. All right. Well, Amber, they are indeed folding laundry. Definitely folding laundry, Gemini says, and here's why. So folding laundry requires a 90-degree torso rotation and full arm extension to properly snap a bath towel. If the camera were on, they would look like a low-budget mime finding an invisible bird.
Holy shit. This is an amazing description.
Yeah. And like, who goes camera off for eating lunch? Are you kidding? I eat lunch on the camera all the time. Like, that doesn't bother me at all.
But the snap of a bath towel? Like, mine don't snap when I fold them.
Also, 90-degree rotation. I'm trying to visualize how this movement would work in my head. I don't understand. I don't know that Gemini has ever actually folded a bath towel before. They claim to be an expert, but
oh my god, this is fantastic.
Okay.
I don't feel so good about getting the right answer, because the description that matches this right answer is so
insane. Yes. Well, you ready for round 3?
I am ready.
Okay, so here's what we were talking about before: fake productivity. Here's our, what did you call it? This is productivity theater, okay? But it was called something else. Productivity. Yes. Okay, so an employee shows as active for 9 straight hours, but they haven't answered a single direct message. What do you think they're doing, Amber? Like, are they deep in focus work? Are they mouse jiggler engaged, watching YouTube, or maybe avoiding a specific coworker?
Okay, so I'm torn between the mouse jiggling and watching YouTube, because I feel like they could be doing both. I feel like they're mouse jiggling because they're watching YouTube. So, but let's go with mouse jiggler engaged.
Mouse jiggler? Okay. All right. Well, Gemini says they're actually avoiding a specific coworker. So this is a pretty long explanation I need. So according to Gemini, this employee is hiding in plain sight. They're using their green active dot as a cloaking device. Here's why they're definitely trying to dodge somebody, okay? The I'm right here power move. By remaining aggressively active, they are sending a psychological message to their nemesis. It says, I am at the keyboard. I am alive. I'm participating in the corporate ecosystem. I'm simply choosing to let your specific message rot in my inbox. Ouch. Also, phase 2 is the inundated defense strategy. So by staying active all day, they're building a legal defense. So tomorrow morning, when they finally reply at 9:02 a.m., oh man, that's got a ring to it, 9:02 a.m., the next day, they can say, oh, so sorry. Yesterday was absolutely wall to wall for me. Just getting to this now. The green dot is physical proof that they were swamped.
I feel like there's more to unpack from Gemini's responses than there are on the initial
Gemini's got
reason
a lot
why
of
we're
attitude,
here.
huh?
Has a lot of attitude here.
What's going on, Gemini? What's happening?
This psychological message to their nemesis. Wait, why does somebody have to be a nemesis to avoid them? Right? Like
letting a message rot in their
right? Or like, I'm at my keyboard, I am alive. I have never suspected that somebody was dead on the other end of their keyboard with a green button.
I am alive. That didn't even register to me, Amber. Oh my God.
I am alive. Like
slightly terrifying.
Like,
what?
Ghost protocol.
Ghost protocol. Wait, I forget what round we're on, but here's the next one, okay? We're calling this meeting endurance, okay? And you and I, like, oh my God. Okay, so a 60-minute mandatory in-person meeting is scheduled to, quote, align on a future meeting agenda. Oh my God, a meeting about a meeting.
A meeting about a meeting.
What happens, Amber? Like, we got a few here that all sound good to me. No decisions are made. Someone says, great discussion. A follow-up meeting gets scheduled, or all of the above.
All the above.
All the above? Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. And actually, Gemini's with us on that. They also said all of the above.
I'm scared to know why, though.
So, according to Gemini, the correct answer is all of the above. And because to pick just one would be to disrespect the beautiful, cyclical nature of corporate bureaucracy. This isn't just a meeting, it's a 3-act play of pure administrative theater. So theater, it's our productivity theater again. As the clock hits that hour mark, everyone's going to stand, they're going to pick up their lukewarm coffee, and then walk into the hallway feeling a profound sense of existential dread, only to immediately open their laptops and accept the calendar invite for the very next meeting. It's the circle of life, Amber, the circle of life.
Oh my God.
This is
Gemini.
horrifying.
Who hurt you? Who hurt you, Gemini?
Circle of life. Oh my God, that's so sad. I don't even know if I want to celebrate getting it right. Anyway, moving on.
Right.
Okay, hushed hybrid. All right, we've reached hushed hybrid here. So an employee is required to be in the office 3 days a week, but they consistently only come in 1.5. How are they actually pulling this off, Amber? Like, are they badge sharing, which sounds illegal? Is this strategic calendar placement, which we've talked about, manager confusion, or nobody's actually checking?
I do believe somebody is checking. There's always somebody who's checking. I'm going to say manager confusion.
Manager confusion. Yeah. Do you want to give any? Are we just locking in and let's hear what she says?
I feel like it doesn't matter because Gemini is going to have something completely off the wall.
You got the point. It doesn't matter. Yes.
It doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm going to say
you've reached a higher plane here. You have, you are seeing it all, right? You're seeing different, all the colors of the rainbow at once. Okay, here we go. It is indeed. I'm telling you, you have reached a new plane of existence here. Okay. Let's see why Gemini says it's definitely manager confusion. Okay, options 1 and 2 are amateur hour.
Amateur hour.
Badge sharing is corporate. I said it. It's illegal. Is a corporate felony that leaves a digital footprint, and strategic calendar placement requires too much math. Too much math. Actually, I'm kind of on board with that. That's too much math.
Yes, too much math.
Now, while nobody is actually checking, is a very close runner-up, Amber. The truth is, like you said, somebody's always watching, right? Somebody's always checking. HR is checking, or at least they're running automated script that generates a terrifying Excel spreadsheet at least once a month. The 1.5 5-day-a-week employee is a master of cognitive fog. They have successfully broken their manager's perception of time and space. They are too confused and too burnt out and too busy to ever actually count the days, which actually I'm thinking of all the middle managers out there.
Yeah.
Like, that is the truth.
Right.
They are just as burnt out as the employees. Are you kidding?
Oh.
Yes. So, no, I like, okay, congratulations, Amber. You got another one. I'm very impressed. I'm
not even trying to win this game, Holly.
Is there winning? Is there winning?
No,
I don't know.
I
did not prepare a gold medal, so like nobody's getting any prizes at the end of this. All right, last round. Okay. All right, this is email gymnastics. Okay, this goes back to like how I first had it like planned out. It's not that at all. So we're saving that for future, but we're still calling it email gymnastics because I love it. So an employee schedules emails to send at 7:03 a.m. Why do you think they're doing this? Is it to look productive, to seem like an early riser, to imply dedication, or all of the above? Look at this very suspicious cat here too.
I know, right?
I love it. It's one of my favorites.
Like, I initially think all of the above, but why would you want to seem why do you want to seem like an early riser if you might actually have hours of like...
Right, what if those are your real work hours? Yeah. That's a good point.
Right,
very good point.
So I'm going to say to imply dedication. I'm going to say 3.
Okay, we're locking in at number 3.
We're locking in at number 3.
All right. Oh no. The correct answer was all of the above.
What the?
Okay, so according to Gemini, right? According to Gemini. So here, the correct answer is all of the above, because to pick just one of these would be to ignore the complex, multi-layered psychological warfare of the morning scheduled email. This isn't just an email. It is a meticulously crafted digital illusion designed to manipulate the entire corporate hierarchy before they've even had their first cup of coffee. The 7:03 a.m. scheduled email is the ultimate set it and forget it corporate power bill.
And we circle back to the set it and forget it.
It's the circle of life, Amber. It's come back to this. Oh my God. Okay.
This is insane. These are great. These are great answers, Gemini, for the comedic factor.
Yes. Okay. So the comedic factor of it is, I think, is perfect for this because here's the thing, Amber, like I know we were like making jokes and like making fun, right? It's like, it is funny. It is hilarious. And like to see what Gemini comes up with for a game called Vibes-Based Management, I got a good laugh out of this. I'm going to be totally honest though. There are like, what if you are actually living in an environment like this where you think about strategies like this? Because I can relate to somebody who might be feeling a lot of anxiety about just this topic in general, no matter if it's ghostworking, coffee badging, hush hybrid, whatever. Like, how visible do I need to be if now I'm sitting in an office? It feels like I'm under a microscope. Like, what am I doing? Like, how do I survive that return to office after, what was it, like 3-4 years for a lot of us who like, it changed our working conditions? Or like from a manager's perspective, even like, how do I avoid creating just a culture within my team where that suspicion and distrust just takes over? Like you said, this like constant surveillance feeling. Like there is like a serious side to the conversation as well. And I'm just curious, from a coaching perspective, like if you maybe we're going to tackle one thing, like how would you maybe approach that? Or what is your takeaway as a coach, like even with just that lens on for this topic?
Well, you did not know my question ahead of time, and yet you teed it up and set it up perfectly, because the question really is that if you are somebody who is performing in these activities, is this a type of workplace that you would want to work in?
I know.
Right. And so it is more about, are you contributing to the type of environment that you want to be a part of?
Yeah. Because Amber, I am that person who I liked feeling needed, right? I liked feeling like I had a purpose and like it was important for me to be there and that. So yeah, I know.
And to me, if I wasn't feeling that, like to me, these are symptoms. Like I would be, if I was performing in these ways, right? And as Gemini has said, I'm in some kind of psychological warfare, right?
I know. I'm still laughing about that.
With work, which not to some people are, and it does feel like it's a war zone for them.
I know. Yes.
And it's equivalent of a war zone for them. And to come into work every day and to feel that they need to armor up and get themselves ready for the work day. And so if I were exhibiting any of these symptoms, any of these buzzword definitions, to me, that is an expression that something is wrong for me, because I am so engaged. And so I see them as disengagement. And I think that they are meant to be seen as disengagement buzzwords, right? And like as a way to show, like, for whatever that is meant to do. So I think that the coaching question is to say that if you are just happen to stumble into these behaviors, or if you are intentionally conducting in these behaviors, I think that the question is the same.
Yeah.
Is it an environment that you want to work in? Is it a workplace that is giving you what you need to thrive? And whether it's good or bad, because we have talked about it in, like, this may be the type of worker that you are. And as long as you're happy and this is not a form of disengagement for you, great, then you're not doing anything wrong. I think that where it becomes, like, where this, like, insert a pin, let's come back and, like, kind of explore what this means, is if this is now a shift for you.
Yeah.
If this is how you work.
That's important.
It is important, because we don't want to call it out as there being something there when there may not be something there.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's not, because then that looks like an attack. That looks like judgment. That looks like we're telling you that this is not how you need to behave or perform, and I would never, right? Like, I feel like we are all different workers in all different ways for very great reasons.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I only see this as if there's a change, that there would be, like, that there's something going on, whether that you realize or not. And it could be that you are, like, you recognize that, like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm running out of time every day. I can't do the things that I want to do because I'm feeling burned out, or I have a lot of family things that are happening outside of work, and it's impacting my performance at work, or it's impacting my ability to feel motivated at work. And but I think that where the difference is here is that, at least in Gemini's definitions too, there seems to be more than intention. Meaning it's, I am going to do this behavior, and I am going to plot and plan it out in such a way that it does not trigger the amateur move. So I'm not going to get caught.
Insidious.
I am not going to, right? Like, it's not going to be on an official record. I can deny, my involvement, because I'm going to then gaslight my manager and tell them that it's their confusion, rather than, like, there's so many other psychological things that are at play that this could veer to the other end of it being incredibly manipulative behavior. And I think that that's when we started this conversation, that's where I was coming from, where it is coming from the perspective of, if somebody is going to set up an entire and elaborate system of skiving off of getting their duties done, that's work. You're just not doing productive work. And I guess maybe it feels productive for you because it's looking like you're working without doing the work, or just doing the bare minimum. But that seems like a lot of work, doesn't it? To set up those kinds of systems that make it look like you're working when you could just be doing the work, which also, like, you don't have to defend that you're working because you're working.
See, and like, that is so, like, that is fair when you're coming at it from that perspective. I think, like, too, I just, like, assume that people, like, and I, again, my experiences, right? Who has the energy to scheme like that? We're just trying to survive, which is why I'm thinking, like, there are no ill intentions. Like, it's not an insidious thing. That I do think that some of this stuff is just us in survival mode, trying to get through things and looking for shortcuts. And like you said, like, your coaching part, like is a great question, because when you are looking for those shortcuts, sometimes you do things that like, well, I wish I could have like handled this with more care, done more here, but I'm too exhausted, Amber. I'm too burnt out, because guess what? I've got a 2-hour commute, or I might have to go take kids to sports after this. I like whatever it might be. Like there's all these things, there's all these different layers. And it's like, I have to wonder, like, again, just like, what is the point of this? If stuff is getting done, if things are happening, why does it matter where anybody's working, how they're getting that work done? I don't see what the big freaking deal is.
Wondering if I need to go like kind of check my, like past work history, because I think that people are more manipulative and right, insidious. I think that comes up a lot for me, where I'm just like, or they could be doing this to you on purpose, right? Like I think I do have that perspective of like really being burned by individuals who like have thought through all of the steps, right? Like that there's been so many traps that requires like a lot of thinking.
And like you said, then you have to armor up when you come in. Like that created this thing where now you feel like, you have to have a guard on, like, protection on all the time, because it's a minefield out there. And I'm so sad. I'm so sad for that. Yeah.
Right. Because, you think that you're just going to come and, and have work conversations with people. And then people are, before it was now illegal to do, right, in a lot of ways, but there's, they would record conversations and they would take what you said out of context and say that this is what you said. And this is how, and just the amount of gaslighting and manipulative behaviors that I watched happen, not necessarily all to me, but just like working in environments where everybody is out to protect themselves. So it wasn't necessarily that they were like, I'm going to pick on this person, right? They, in somehow, way, shape, or form, feel threatened. And then when they feel threatened, then they behave in ways that are protective for them. But it means that they might attack somebody else or throw, like offensive or defensive attacks against somebody else. And then that other person is just like, what is happening?
Yeah, just
right?
caught in the crossfires. Yeah, for like
caught in the crossfires of kind of like what. So I just feel like I saw a whole lot of this psychological warfare of people just trying to get through the day and feeling attacked constantly. So I think that does have a role here as well. But let's end on a happy. And not go on the unhinged route that Gemini took us on, right? Let's bring it back to the non-final answer, right? But some of our final answers is that we did recently let go of our TikTok, and in its place, we are now on Substack. And so if you would like to join us on Substack, we are doing deep dives into episodes or even just taking themes that are coming out in our episodes, and we are writing weekly articles, and then we are also writing notes, and we have ways that you can connect and engage with us there on Substack. If you are new to Substack and you just don't know what it is, it's really just another way. It's another social media avenue that allows us to explain ourselves a little more and in words, and to be able to engage and connect with you and your questions that you might have with us. And then, of course, we are still on our Reddit account, where we are sharing memes and being as funny as we possibly can, and letting you know what else is happening on other Reddit channels, and what are things that other channels are sharing about the workplace and our mental state across the board, being employees in today's day and age. So those are two big places that you can find us and connect with us the easiest. And so look forward to some more exciting news and things coming for us and the podcast as we start to near our 6-month anniversary of the I know, right? Of the podcast being around, which we're very, very excited to celebrate with you. And so this is Sanity Pending Podcast. I am Amber, and this is Holly. And if you have not throat punch somebody this week, slow, then it has been a great week. Bye, everyone.